What you're looking at right now is an article from RT, or Russia Today. It is admittedly a biased news source, with an affiliation to the Russian state, but I would offer that it's at least that our normal Western sources are at least as biased as RT, and I think that RT is more in a position to cover this story anyway, which is why I'm using their coverage. So there was a bombing that took place. When was it? Saturday, a few days ago. Today is Monday, so this was 2 days ago. On Saturday, there was a car bombing in Russia, and the car bombing killed the daughter of Alexander Dugin. His daughter's name is Darya. Yes, that's right, Darya, just like the cartoon character, except with a Y instead of an I. And Dugina, I guess they call it. This is what the diminutive that they use for feminine names in Russia. He's Dugin. She's being female. She's Dugina, I suppose. I didn't know that, but that's the way it works. Okay, so I'm not gonna read too much from this, but just to say, Russia's Federal Security Service has made public a video of Ukrainian national Natalia Vok, identified as the prime suspect in Saturday's car bombing that killed journalist Darya Dugina in Moscow. Okay. Footage arrived published Monday, which is today, shows Vok and her teenage daughter entering Russia inside the building where Dugina lived, leaving the country in haste. She was named as the prime suspect in the assassination of Dugina. The Ukrainian national arrived in Russia on July 23rd, using Donetsk People's Republic license plates. Donetsk is one of the sections of Ukraine that is more under Russian dominion. So, using using Donetsk People's Republic license plates to avoid scrutiny. While in Moscow, she swapped the plates on her Mini Cooper. This is the point I want to come back to in a second that I find interesting, just from a synchronistic point of view, to those of a Kazakhstanian, a friendly former Soviet republic. After the bombing, Vok drove to Estonia with Ukrainian plates, the FSB said. The Russian version of the FBI. So, this is a picture of the lady, not the most flattering picture, I would say. But there you go. Won't comment any further on that. Don't want to get sidetracked on something like that matter. So the authorities say she may have used her teenage daughter as cover to move around Russia more easily. A photo ID of Vok, or Vavakt, I don't know how you pronounce that, but I'm just doing my best here as an Anglo speaker, trying to make sense of the Cyrillic tongue. She wore a uniform of the Ukraine's National Guard, published in April, as part of a dox of neo-Nazi Azov Regiment members. The Azov Battalion strikes again. It lists her surname as Shaban. Blah, blah, blah. So Dugina was killed on Saturday evening after attending a conservative family festival near Moscow with her father. I don't know what that means, conservative family festival. With her father, philosopher Alexander Dugin. Folks have allegedly planted an improvised explosive device under the Toyota SUV that belonged to Dugin, who may have been her intended target. So, was it her? Did she try to kill Dugin and end up killing her daughter by accident? Or sorry, his daughter by accident? Or is this, something much more devious and sinister and evil, where they, like gangster types target, family members of somebody who they want to rattle, or who they want to sometimes it's more effective to target the family member of a a person that you want to terrorize. It's certainly must be devastating for Dugin himself. Now, I have to hasten to add, I'm not a fan of Dugin or his writing or his philosophy as I know it, as I understand it. But nevertheless, this is obviously an act of international terror, and it is something that, it's hard for me to think that this is some isolated case. I would imagine that this was done intentionally, that there were orders that were issued, and those orders probably don't just come from Ukraine. They probably come from NATO or the CIA or some such nefarious member of the Western Bloc, who I live in the West, but I do not trust the Western authorities any further than they could throw me, and I'm sure they could throw me out of a plane, if they wanted to, if I was important enough. So they actually threw me a long way. So I don't trust them. So that's actually a poor metaphor to use. But suffice to say, I don't trust them. Now, here's one thing that I think is really interesting that I just wanted to point out, since I've been talking about, I've recorded several videos on Anne Heche, and let me see, where did I find? Okay, here it is. She swapped the plates on her Mini Cooper to those of Kazakhstan. The Mini Cooper strikes again. The Mini Cooper. The synchronistic Mini Cooper. Now, I'm not a car guy. I don't know much about cars. I'm not much of a guy, period. I don't really know cars. I don't know much about tools. I can't build anything. I'm pretty useless when it comes to the sorts of things that men are supposed to be able to do. I am just not very good at any of that. So I'd never heard of this. I'd never heard of a Mini Cooper as a vehicle, but I guess it's a kind of swank vehicle that maybe is favored by women. Women like to drive it. I'm just because of these two occasions. So it was Anne Heche's Mini Cooper that allegedly, inexplicably, drove off at a major rate of speed after she left the hair salon shop and bought a red wig and seemed to be just normal, in a normal state of mind. Nothing unusual about her, according to the owner of the place, and whom she took a selfie with. And then that vehicle just went, just after she apparently got behind the wheel. I'm just going to say apparently, because we don't know. We're only piecing together what they allow us to, the scraps that they allow us to see And we're just supposed to believe the stories they tell us. But anyway, that was a Mini Cooper. That car that crashed into a house that they eventually pulled Anne Heche out of, with her entire body covered as if she were dead. But she burst out of that sheet and tried to get off of the gurney. To all appearances, according to what we saw from a helicopter video taken from a helicopter, news helicopter, but to no avail. The firemen just pitilessly pushed her in. They were firemen, not paramedics. Anyway, that was all involving a Mini Cooper. And once again, in this case, a Mini Cooper is involved. Now, what does it all mean? I don't know. It's just an interesting synchronicity, isn't it? That a Mini Cooper would be involved, would be the vehicle involved in both of these cases. I don't know. One of those things. You know, there is such a thing as synchronicity, and this is an interesting instance of it, in my estimation. Thanks for watching.